What's going on YouTube? My name is ginj-tcg or Chris, and today I'm back with a new series around the Pokemon TCG Pocket. If you haven't seen it, it's a new app made by the Pokemon company where it's like a very simplified version of the card game, so it's not as in-depth, the deck sizes are a lot smaller, the mechanics are a whole lot simpler, but it's a lot of fun, and I've been playing it for the past couple of days. I'm not too amazing, I don't have any like insane or amazing cards. Yeah, I've got a couple of nice ones, but nothing too cracked, but I thought maybe, you know what, every now and then I'm gonna just hop on when I got a fun deck and record a video for this game, because it's still like Pokemon card game related, and I feel like there's a lot of hype around it, a lot of people are playing it, so I thought I might get out there and try to make some videos revolving around the new Pocket app. So for today's video is the first deck I ever made from scratch. I've been rocking with it since I completed all of the little solo missions, and it's not bad. It's totally coin flip related, but I figured, you know what, I ain't going for like a sweaty meta deck. I'm just gonna try to have some fun and play with some different cards, and this is what I cooked up. So it revolves around Wigglytuff EX. If you don't know what Wigglytuff EX does, it's got 140 HP, and then it puts your opponent's active Pokemon to sleep, doing 80 damage for 3 energy, which isn't bad. It's two-shotting pretty much all of the big EXs except for a couple, but the best mechanic that I've loved abusing is the sleep mechanic, because I feel like I flip tails more than anyone on this planet, and I was hoping some other people share my luck and their Pokemon stay asleep for a long time. And then with 140 HP, we're also pretty tanky. We could live a good amount of hits while also trying to just sleep spam. Like, that's the whole point of the deck, is just sleep spamming. We're playing Frosmoth with 90 HP, a nice little single point Pokemon with the Powder Snow attack, where it's the same thing as Wigglytuff, but it does 40 damage and then puts our opponent's active Pokemon to sleep. So if you can't tell, the goal of this deck is just put you to sleep and just try to win while you can't attack, because you're sitting there flipping tails and you're not getting your attacks through. I didn't have 2 copies of Articuno EX, so I'm only playing 1 copy of it. I know a lot of people, like, there's been a lot of online tournaments, and a lot of people are playing a double Articuno EX deck, where it's just a duo deck, and I totally want to make it. I also don't have 2 Articunos, so that's going to be a video and just a game for me for another time. But I'm playing 1 Articuno EX and 1 Articuno, so the Articuno EX has the Blizzard attack, where you do 80 damage, and then you put 10 damage on each of your opponent's bench Pokemon, which is not bad if you could get it set up and really just start spamming damage around the board. I honestly kind of like it. Super underrated attacker. We're also playing the single prize Articuno, because like I said, the goal of this deck is to put your opponent's Pokemon to sleep, but we've also got some paralyzed, because you do Ice Beam for 60 damage, and then you flip a coin if heads, your opponent's Pokemon is paralyzed. So if you haven't played TCG Pocket, it's a lot simpler than TCG Live. It's a lot simpler than the standard format. So you're probably thinking like, man, these cards are whack, they would never hang in today's format. Well, that's true, but on TCG Live, they hang pretty well. Nothing in this deck is like super cracked, or I feel like is super common. Like, I haven't came across any Articunos or Wigglytuffs. I came across a Frosmoth deck, but it was very different from this one. And it seems like all the big decks are just trying to set up, swing for Okos. So I figured if I could just get set up first and put them to sleep, I could kind of disrupt that and just get this little gimmick going, and it's a lot of fun. For consistency, I'm playing a heavy supporter line because 2 cards is max. Heavy draw line of research and 2 Pokeballs, because I feel like that's the core of every single deck. I'm also playing 2 copies of Misty, which is probably the most annoying card in the game. I really don't like this card, but it's my only energy acceleration. You choose one of your water Pokemon in play, flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, take a water energy from the zone and throw it on that Pokemon. So once I flipped 5 heads, which is pretty sweet. Was it on a Frosmoth? Absolutely. Was it useless? Pretty much absolutely after the second one. But you know, when you have times like that, that Misty is the most clutch card in the deck, and I feel like you always win those games. And we're already playing so many coin flips with sleep and paralyzation that I thought, you know what, we might as well throw Misty in here, have a little more fun with flipping coins, because how else would I make a video for a new Pokemon game? So that's our whole energy acceleration line. Yes, it doesn't set up energy onto Wigglytuff, but if we could buy some time with Frosmoth or either of the Articunos and then go into the Wigglytuff with some manual attachments, that's kind of what I've been rocking with. And honestly, in terms of like pace, the deck is fine. Like, the deck totally keeps up. We're playing Pokeballs just to make sure we're drawing into our Pokemon when we need them. We got 1 Giovanni just to make sure we're swinging a little harder, because every now and then, like, 10 more damage is pretty big. There are some like stage 1 Pokemon that are like single point Pokemon, like Frosmoth, that have 90 HP. So every now and then, if you could just use Giovanni to make Blizzard or Sleepy Song swing for 90, it's pretty big, and it's helped out a few times. I'm also playing 1 copy of Sabrina. It's the best this game has in terms of Gust, and I've played the TCG Live and just Pokemon trading card game in general long enough to know that Gust is good. So if you give me a supported card like Sabrina, I'm going to stick one of in pretty much all my decks and just make sure I can rope out big tanky walls out of the active spot, or maybe, you know, with Sabrina, I've cleaned up a couple games where it's like they've got a wall Pokemon, but everything on their bench is pretty much very easy to KO or can't retreat, so then I'm able to go into Wigglytuff or Articuno and kind of clean up Pokemon that way. We're also playing 2 copies of Red Card. So your opponent shuffles their hand into their deck and draws 3 cards. The goal with this is that since we're putting them to sleep and we're trying to draw out longer games, if I could shuffle your hand after you've got 5, 6 cards and just make you have 3, I figured that's the best way to do it, because chances are, you know, if you draw into what you need off 3 cards, you draw into what you need. But more often than not, I'm going to wait until you got 5, 6 cards, and it's not a bad item card to play while there's still very limited item options in this game. So, also, before I get into today's video, and yes, I'll be doing 3 games like normal, although they're a little quicker, so it should be a shorter video. I'm sure you guys will know that because you clicked on it already. If you like this format, I mean, I'm going to be clicking cards, and I could always, like, search cards and put them on this left side of the screen here, just so everyone's kind of seeing what's going on, because I don't know, sometimes it's kind of hard to see just the phone screen in the middle, but in a second, when I get into the match, my phone screen is going to pop up and take up this whole middle area. If there's a different way you'd like to do it, or you want a bit of a simpler stuff, and you don't want me clicking as much and putting Pokemon on the left side, I mean, you know, it's kind of like figuring it out. I still am not good at editing, so I'm trying my best, but if you got any, I guess it's like, you know, like little HUD recommendations, you know, you want me to do this or keep my deck list on the left side or something like that, please let me know. I mean, I'm totally open to suggestions. I'm just playing around with what format I think would be fun and I think works the best, and so far this is what I kind of cooked up. So let's get into today's video. Let's see if we could get a perfect record. Let's go for 3 wins out of our 3 matches with Wigglytuff EX. Welcome to match number 1, where, also, just small change, I don't know if it changes anything. I'm recording on my iPad just because it's got a bigger screen, so I'm hoping it'll take up more of the center area. And we open up with a decent hand. I think I'm going to be leading Snom here. Well, because my only choice. But yeah, no, actually, I'm kind of rocking with this. We got a Poké Ball, we got Misty, we got Wigglytuff, Frosmoth. I feel like there's a lot of directions this could go where I'm rocking. You know, if we got to sit behind a Snom stall, that's cool. That's something I've done before. It's not that bad. And this is something I've been seeing lately, is people leading Meowth. You know what? I'm actually curious if I could look up, like, all cards on this. Hold up. Meowth. Do we? Yeah, we can. Okay, so this card is one that I feel like a lot of people have been leading lately on the left side. Just because it's, like, the only draw engine this game really has, and honestly, I kind of like it. You know, it helps you just dig a little bit deeper in your deck, which I feel like is really beneficial most of the time. We get Articuno EX, which isn't what this deck was built around, but has become a slow favorite of mine. And I think here, I'm just going to use Misty to see how aggressive we could be with the Articuno, because I've got the manual attachment on Snom just to rock there. So we got 1 heads, 2, nah, we're chilling. Oh, we're so chill. We're dialed in this match for sure. Honestly, I'm almost tempted to go into Articuno this turn, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to keep attacking with Snom, just keep the pressure on. I don't want to waste energy by retreating. Like, since we're not taking the KO on my opponent's Meowth, I don't see the benefit in switching into Articuno immediately. I feel like it would generally just be better for me to just take a second, rock with Snom in the active. If it gets KO'd this turn, that would be insane. I really don't think it's going to, but that way I could go into Frosmoth next turn if I feel like that's better, or I could just switch into Articuno with the retreat next turn, but I don't want to force it right now if I'm not getting a big benefit from it. And our opponent is playing a Wigglytuff EX deck. And Gengar. Okay, so this is not what I expected. Honestly, I saw the Psychic Energy, I saw Meowth. I was low-key thinking the Gardevoir deck. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but that deck is so annoying. I can't stand it. Such a good deck. And there they are, using Payday. And we're going to switch back into Articuno this turn, most likely. So our opponent has a lot of cards in hand, so I'm just going to red card them right now. Just tell them, hey, that's awesome. Love all the cards you got. Anyways, figure something else out. And I think here we're just going to go... It's still... I'm going to evolve because it's still 1 energy to retreat, but I am going to put the energy on Articuno and just get swinging there. So we could switch in here. I'm going to KO the Meowth. Gengar only needs 1 energy to attack, but it has to evolve twice, so I don't see a point in really rushing that. Everything else that I'm really worried about, which is really just like the Wigglytuff, needs multiple energy, so I'm not going to sweat that too much. And the reason, oh, I forgot that since I switched to my iPad, I literally did that right before this video, hoping it'll be bigger. A lot of like the tutorial stuff might still pop up. I mean, it's still my account, it's still linked, but yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, no, so I'm going to start doing some damage to the bench. I don't even remember what I was saying. It was something about Wigglytuff, but I'm not too worried about it attacking right now. If they're just hanging... Ah, there's the Wigglytuff. Okay, so they're going to sit behind that, which is bold. Because we're going to be putting that thing at 2-shot potential. So I'm curious to see if they've got a... What do you call it? The X-Speed or whatever the retreat card is. But I'm not going to worry too much. I'm just going to start setting up my Jigglypuff. That way I could force a 4-point game. If I could go Articuno EX and then Wigglytuff and force 4 points that way, I think that would be the most beneficial. The other way to do it would be the single prize Articuno, Frosmoth, and then Wigglytuff or Articuno. But generally you want to force 4 prizes as often as you can, you know, in these matches. And our opponent's going to double potion there, which is smart. That's the only thing that's actually going to keep the game. So they are definitely going to be going for the sleep block. And again, I'm tempted to... You know, use Sabrina, but again, I don't think it's worth it. We need a KO Wigglytuff EX if we want to end this game on 3 points and not force the 4-point game for our opponent. So we're just going to keep swinging. And that's kind of what I like about Pocket. Very simplified turns. There's not much thought to it. There's a couple decisions, like each turn, like, oh, do I Sabrina, do I not? But for the most part, you just attach energy and attack every time without fail, which is kind of nice. And they got the cool Wigglytuff there. Oh, sweet. So this Wigglytuff, if you guys want to see it. They got the cool art, though, which I can flash on screen on the left side. One day I'll get good at this. I like that one. And our opponent just conceded, yeah. So they had the energy to attack, but I guess they weren't too... They were a little scared that, you know, we would just flip heads and then just attack through them. So we're going to take the chip against Wigglytuff EX Gengar. And our Pokemon of the match was easily Articuno. We clocked in at some good damage. 340 damage in 9 turns, not bad. We were getting a little bit higher on the next turn because I'm pretty sure had the attack KO. If we didn't have it with Articuno, actually, I don't think we would have been able to retreat because of sleep. But, I mean, I'm pretty confident we would have walked through that match. So, yeah, that's game number 1. Let's hop into game number 2 and see if we can get the guaranteed positive record with Wigglytuff EX Frosmoth. Welcome to match number 2. I almost held up the 3. It's not match number 3. It's match number 2. Where we are up against Mewtwo EX. Is probably going to be Gardevoir. And Gardevoir is a match I really did not want to see. I mean, that deck is just so overwhelming, so hard to deal with. If you don't know what it does, you got Mewtwo EX swinging 150. And although you have to discard 2 energy, you use Gardevoir's ability to just keep recycling it. So they got the side drive attack here. And wait, hold up. They got Porygon. Oh, no shot. Oh, man. Wait, that's actually pretty cool. I haven't seen Porygon in a deck. They got the really cool art of it, too. So they got the data scan ability where they can look at the top card of their deck, which, honestly, not the worst. Not the worst ability at all. I'm almost tempted to red card here and just kind of knock our opponent's hand back down to size, but they really haven't done much. I think this is going to be a game where I try to just go like Wigglytuff EX and then Wigglytuff EX. So I think here, oh, whoopsies. Sorry, I got a text. I'll probably have to like box those out or something. I think Wigglytuff EX or Articuno EX are going to be the play here. So I'll hold off on benching Articuno for now. I think I'm going to wait to bench that for when I get Misty. And I think here we're just going to hit him with the red card. Or I guess I could bench it now. And if they play Sabrina or something like that, I mean, we're still a little slow to set up. But I am scared of getting hit with the red card myself, so I don't want to bench Snom. I think I'm just going to bench the Articuno. And I'm just going to rock with this for now and pass it over to our opponent. So they'll be able to get their first energy down. And they did miss the Ralts last turn, which is big for us. You know, that'll really slow them down, slow their energy acceleration, and overall just kind of keep us in the game a little longer. So they're going to use Data Scan, look at the top card of their deck, put it back down. And I'm curious why they're rocking Data Scan. I mean, I actually have that Porygon too with the cool art. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, but I don't see a huge benefit in like what could come from it. And they're playing Coughing. No shot. Is this a Weezing deck? And we get Sabrina there. Okay, so we're going to search Weezing here. So Weezing with the Gas Leak ability, also really cool art. You can just make your opponent's Pokemon poison. Not what I expected. Normally, that is not at all what you see in a Mewtwo EX deck. So we're definitely playing against a bit of a pile here. But I do love piles myself, so I'm not complaining. And I think the best thing for us would be to get damage onto the Mewtwo EX, so I don't want to rip Sabrina. I'd rather wait for next turn and put that Mewtwo down to 2-shot capability. You know, get that first swing on Mewtwo. That way we could KO Mewtwo, and then we can start KOing just any single prize Pokemon for the chip. So we are going to get swung on by Psychic Spear here. But that's all right. I mean, we got some tank. We could live through this, and we get Frosmoth, which again I'm not gonna bench. I really don't feel like dealing with that getting KO'd. So I am, oh my god, not attaching to Articuno. What was I thinking? I was thinking about red carding, but they're at 4 cards. They didn't do much. I think the best bet for us would be to Sleepy Song and see if we can force them to flip tails and just take an easy KO on Mewtwo EX. That would be amazing for us, and I feel like at that point really help us along the way to getting that 2-0 record for the day. And there's heads. All right, so they'll be able to attack. They won't be able to get Gardevoir down this turn because that was the first turn Ralts was in play. And I think that's huge. That's going to save us from a side drive. Not save us from the chip, though, unless we top deck Giovanni. Never mind, they double potion. So their Mewtwo is going to be worth 3 hits now. We're not going to 2-shot it, we're going to 3-shot it, which means we are really going to need a sleep coming our way as soon as possible. And they get another Dark Energy down, and Dark Energy is their next energy. And I feel like this is where going with the dual type deck gets very difficult when the dual type is not a normal type Pokemon. Like, we got Water Normal. Normal will take any energy. They got Psychic Dark. So if you look at their energy board, they got a Dark Energy on deck. So next turn, they actually won't really be able to attack with Mewtwo EX, and it seems like they're just going to go for a retreat here and sack a Pokemon, which is pretty interesting. And yeah, they're just going to go into Coughing and give us a KO, which honestly, I mean, I'm cool with. I could red card, or Sabrina, but I feel like they'll just give us Porygon, which honestly, between the two, I'd rather take Coughing, because Coughing is not a bad single prize attacker at all, and poison damage is really annoying, so I'd rather just not deal with that. I think here, we're going to hold a Sabrina still, and we're just going to rip the Sleepy Song right now, and just start swinging for KO on Coughing, take our first point. Now, all we have to do is deal with Mewtwo EX, and we are chilling on match number 2. So, our opponent, we'll see who they throw up. And it's going to be Porygon, yeah. This is going to be the next Pokemon they sack. They're just trying to look for Curlias and Psychic Energy. But this is the cost of playing a dual-type deck that's not normal type. And I think that's why Wigglytuff is such a good partner for so many different decks. You can see it in just so many places is because of this. You know, it's a really good Stage 1 EX attacker, some bulk, some good 2-shot attack damage with a really good effect. And it doesn't mess up your energy acceleration. So they'll finally get their Psychic Energy down for next turn, which is actually pretty scary because Mewtwo EX will one-shot our, what do you call it, our Wigglytuff. So I think our best play here is to Sabrina and just take out Ralts right now. They're going to get a KO next turn no matter what. They're going to promote Mewtwo, manual attach the energy to Mewtwo, and use Side Drive and KO whatever Pokemon we bring up. And they put up the Mewtwo right now, which actually I didn't expect. I really thought they would give us Ralts. And I was going to say, we'll just be at one point left. But they give us Mewtwo, which means we are going to put that thing at 1-shot damage. And we got 2 set up Pokemon. Another text I'll have to box out for a second. We'll see how good my editing skills really are. I apologize for that. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out like the best way to do that. I probably should turn off notifications completely when I screen record, huh? Whoopsies. A lot of learning for me to do. Still, I mean, I've been doing this YouTube stuff for a couple months, but I feel like still there's a lot I'm learning and a lot I got to get used to. And this whole phone recording thing, definitely not in my comfort zone. This is something I'm definitely learning the best way to do. So they're going to swing here, take the KO on Wigglytuff EX, and that is no problem for us. We're going to promote Articuno, attach the energy, and just rip into them. So we were not able to get the full benefit of sleep that game, but Wigglytuff was able to go to town with good damage. So now we're going to be switching on over to Articuno and clean up this match with an easy Blizzard 4 game. So that is going to wrap it up for match number 2. We are 2-0 for the day, which I love to see. On our first TCG Pocket video, we got the guaranteed positive record, which is the type of energy I love. So we'll see if we can get the win in match number 3 and go 3-0 for the day. Welcome to match number 3, where we are up with Articuno for the lead. Oh my god, I probably should have threw down Jigglypuff. But no, we're rocking. I didn't even see the Jigglypuff, to be honest. Totally lost it behind my name in the bottom corner. So I'm a bit of a bum for that, but it's cool. We rocking, and we're up against Gollet, dude. I'd be lying if I said I knew what Gollet. I think that's how you spell it, or at least the first part of it to search it. Yeah, it does. It is double lariat. That's actually not a bad attack. I'm not gonna lie. Heavy Mewtwo vibes. Heavy Mewtwo EX vibes, but a single prizer. So I am actually in love with that top deck. I could love to just start ripping into him with Articuno this turn. And we are going to get Jigglypuff off the Poké Ball, which I don't know if I'm going to bench. I think here the best play for us would be to Misty and see how aggressive we could be. See if we can flip some heads. Oh, I'm throwing cards that I've been shuffling. Get some heads down. Can we get one more? Oh my god. If we got 2 heads there, we would have been ripping into them early with Ice Beam, which I would have loved to see. But it's cool. It's cool. We're not too worried. 60 damage, chance to paralyze, not bad. Not bad at all. And it's an attack I'm actually excited to use on video. I feel like out of all the Pokemon in this deck, this is the one I probably use the least. But it just gives a nice single prize option when you need a little more than Frosmoth. And if you've gotten a lot of energy set up with, like, you know, a Misty at any point, it's honestly not a super hard card to set up. So our opponent has 5 cards in hand. However, their hand is relatively dead. So I'm not stressing the red card right now. I'd rather wait one more turn for them to do something, and then I'll hit them with the red card. So we're just going to research here, and that's going to be a huge research for us, getting us both Wigglytuff EX and Articuno EX. So that's big. And I think here, we just rip the Ice Beam. Not much else we can do. I'm not going to red card. I want to wait one more turn. I just want to be a little greedy with these red cards. I want to see my opponent do a little bit more before it starts stressing them. So we're going to flip the heads, paralyze our opponent, and hopefully stop them from, you know, playing the game for at least a turn. So our opponent here, let's see what they got. They got 6 cards in hand. They get the Abra down. All right, this deck is a Psychic box, and my god, is there a lot of evolving they got to do. And I feel like the heavy evolving decks work best when you got, like, I saw the Amber builds are actually a lot of fun, or the Fossil builds. I just have the Amber Fossil, I have 2 of them, so I have a deck cooked up with that, nice stage 2 deck with the Amber. Don't want to reveal what it is, but if you want to see how those builds work, I'd love to give them a go. So here, who would I like to use? Honestly, against a heavy evolving deck, I think I'm going to go Articuno. And I'm going to start slowly setting up that Articuno. And here, I think the play for us, we've given them enough turns. I think now we red card them. And just try to knock their hand back down a little bit to size. I know I said I want to wait for them to do a couple more things, but I don't want them to do a bunch of things to the point where they have like 1 card left. I feel like they've got an evolution for Abra or something in their hand. So I'm just going to shuffle their deck now and tell them to figure it out. So we're going to take the KO on Gauntlet. It still makes us flip the coin even though we take the KO. And we get heads, which is rough, because that's going to steal heads from next time, probably. And if you don't know what I mean, you don't believe in RNG like I do, and I think I've got a finite amount of heads for each day, because I never flip heads. Not like literally, like there's not a specific number, but you know what I mean. I feel like it's just, that's a heads I could have flipped at a more useful time, and now I'm not going to because I flipped it when it was useless. But I feel like that's normally how the luck is going. So, you know, it's just something we'll have to deal with. So they got Clefairy to Yo. This person must have a 1-1 line of like 500 different Pokemon, and I'm loving it. Not necessarily for them. I don't think it's really helping them too much right now, but hey, I ain't complaining. We're taking points, we're taking KOs, and we're playing the game, honestly, pretty much as well as I could have expected. Our opponent's going to red card us, which gets rid of Giovanni, which was the only card I think I would have liked to keep. But, I mean, I'm not sweating it too much, especially when we draw into Sabrina and Research. That's huge. That is so big for us. So I'm not going to rip Sabrina yet. I think the best play for us is just to go Research, see if we can get a Misty or something like that in case they have an insane play for next turn, and there it is. Oh my gosh, just ask and you shall receive. So our opponent needs an Alakazam to stay in the game. I think that's the only Pokemon we can't one-shot that they could get in play. I think Clefable, if it has 80 or 90 HP, actually it might have 100 HP. So they really just need an evolution Pokemon to stay in the game, which is a pretty tall order in a game like this. I mean, the top deck odds aren't huge because there's no draw engines in this game, except for, like, Meowth. And Poké Ball only searches basic Pokemon. Yeah, they got Alakazam, so they'll be able to rip the Psychic here, which is big. That's huge, actually. They'll be able to take the KO, and oh, actually, they're swinging 150. Oh, that's actually really scary. So what could I do here? I mean, I have to go Articuno. If I play the energy down, they'll actually take the chip. Oh, no, we got Sabrina. Oh, we're chilling. We're chilling. All right. Think, Chris. Think. I was like, I could use Ice Wing, do 40 damage, and then hopefully I get Giovanni, and then swing for 90 with Blizzard, but that's way too much work. I could just use Sabrina, tell him, hey, you see that Clefairy? I want that Clefairy. Give me that KO. And that's going to wrap it up for match number 3. There's always an out. You just got to find it. And I am seriously not reading all my cards. I'm like, oh, it's a simple game. Just attach, attack, attach, attack. Well, no, actually, sometimes I do need to play a card from my hand. So we are going to go 3-0 for the day for the first Pocket video. That makes me happy. I'm glad I was able to show off. This was the first deck I really ever made that I feel like had some competitive potential. So I'm really happy to show it off and do well with it for you guys. We were able to, I think, use 3 Pokemon, like pretty much all of our attackers for each of these videos, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm excited to have shown you guys, you know, all of my, pretty much the entire deck I feel like was shown pretty nicely here. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, if you want to see more TCG live, or not TCG live, TCG Pocket stuff in the future, let me know in the comments down below. Also, the how-to video will be coming out, the first one, in the next couple days. So if you haven't seen that post, go look at my most recent post. I've talked about it a little bit, also in one of my most recent videos, towards the end of it. So, you know, go check that stuff out. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all the support lately. Seriously, I appreciate all of you guys so much. It's been a dream to kind of start and create a channel with an amazing community. So thanks for tuning in. With that being said, stay epic. Peace.